Hey there, and welcome to Beyond Survival, A Pathway to Peace. I'm your host, Naomi Stanchfield. If you're living with the effects of trauma or PTSD, you're in the right place. I know what it's like to live in survival mode, always waiting for the next shoe to drop. For years, I searched for peace, for a way to feel safe in my own body again. That search became the foundation of the work I do today as a trauma-informed coach. This podcast is here to support you as you begin your own journey towards a calmer, more peaceful life. Each week, we'll explore real tools, heartfelt conversations, and simple practices to help you heal, one step at a time. You don't have to walk this path alone. Let's take it together. You've probably heard it said that healing is a journey, not a destination. But what does that really mean? Destination thinking tricks us into chasing a finish line where all of our pain disappears and triggers stop forever. That's not how it works. Journey thinking, that's embracing an ongoing path of growth with ups and downs, detours and discoveries, where you build tools, self-compassion, and resilience over time. Everyday signs include noticing that you have handled a conversation with a little bit more grace than last time. Instead of, I should be over this by now, try, every trigger gives me a chance to use a new tool. Today, we'll unpack this metaphor and why it frees you to heal at your own pace. We'll explore more real stories, the science-backed reasons why it works this way, and even more hands-on tools to make your path feel lighter and more hopeful. Let's dive in. It was actually a podcast that I was listening to a few months ago that really drove this home for me. I can't remember which podcast it was because I listened to so many different ones, but the host said something along the lines of, life is never going to be all rainbows and butterflies. We are going to have days where things are great, and then we're going to have days where the same old bullshit pops up again. This was coming from someone who had spent years working on themselves and helping others as well. That hit me like a ton of bricks, because this person wasn't some newbie. They were deep in the work, yet so honest about the reality. And it was then that it dawned on me. As long as you're making progress, then it is working. No perfection required, just real progress. I think too often, many of us who have survived trauma are waiting for that day where we are fixed, where the world will be right, we will be happy all of the time, and our past never affects us again. And the sad truth is, that day will probably never come. Have you felt this too? You're not alone. Picture it. No more anxiety spikes at family gatherings, no more second guessing every decision, just pure peace every day. Sounds so dreamy, right? But knowing that that day might not come, that's actually the freedom that you're waiting for. Now, I don't say that to discourage anyone. Quite the opposite, actually. I want you to realize that you aren't failing at healing just because you aren't fixed yet. If you're showing up regularly, working on yourself, and trying, then you are doing it. Right now, I want you to jot down one way that you have shown up for yourself recently, even if it was tiny. That constant effort, that's the journey in action. Way more powerful than flawless results. Give yourself real credit right now. That's fuel for what's ahead. There were so many times during my own healing journey that I would quit therapy because it obviously wasn't working, or I would beat myself up because why am I not better yet? I didn't realize in those moments that feeling that way is extremely normal. There are times during healing that you will hit plateaus. It will feel like nothing is changing, like you are making no progress at all. Your body might even scream louder in these plateaus with tight chests or restless nights as old patterns dig their heels in. But keep showing up gently. That's when it's more important than ever to keep working. You see, healing has a compounding effect. That compounding is like interest in a savings account, building invisibly until you see the shift. Here's why it works this way. Trauma and chronic stress wired our brain and our nervous system for survival mode. That means our old fight, flight, or freeze reactions can still kick in under stress or triggers, even after we've done a ton of work. It's not you failing or going backwards, it's just your body doing what it was trained to do. The cool part, your brain can rewire itself through neuroplasticity, but it needs repeated safe experiences over time, not one magic moment. So healing comes in waves and layers, like peeling an onion, where stuff resurfaces to get processed fully. That's why those "why am I not better yet" moments are so normal. They're part of the rewiring. Just like training a muscle, each calm response to a trigger lays down a new neural road. Small reps over time strengthen it. Each little step you take moves you forward on your path, even if it doesn't feel like it. And then one day you will feel this shift, where things start changing. In that moment, it will feel like all of a sudden things changed. But the reality is, everything you've been doing was helping under the surface. Each little change added up until combined, they made a big change. This will happen over and over again during your healing journey. It's important not to get frustrated or impatient with yourself when it feels like things aren't working. I felt this after months of somatic practice. One day, a family trigger hit, and I paused instead of froze. All those small efforts had compounded under the surface. Trust that unseen buildup. It is real. There will also be times where it feels like you're getting worse. But the reality is that healing sometimes uncovers layered emotions you didn't realize were there. Healing happens in waves, but each time you make it over those waves, you're better equipped to handle the next one. It's important during times of high emotion to take a deep breath and take pauses if needed. There is no rush in the journey of healing because there is no finish line. Let's make space for imperfection. One woman in my community shared how confronting boundaries brought up childhood shame she thought she had dealt with years ago. Name it during those waves. This is a wave, not the whole ocean. Pauses like a walk or quickly journaling, they build your strength for the next one. My counselor actually explained healing and making changes as a spiral, which really resonated with me. Picture climbing a spiral staircase. You might circle around, but you're also rising each turn. The way he explained it to me, you will go through this spiral many times during your healing journey, and sometimes you will go up and down that same spiral a few times before you make it through a single pass. Let's talk about this spiral of healing and change. At the top, or the beginning of the spiral, you are at the pre-contemplation stage. This stage is where you are unaware of or have no intention of changing your behavior. We were all there at one point before we realized that we needed to go on this healing journey. And even during this healing journey, we will be there many times. We may not realize that a behavior we have is an unhealthy coping mechanism or that we have a toxic trait that needs changing, like endless scrolling to numb out or people pleasing on autopilot. But that's okay. Awareness is on its way. Once we become aware of the things that need changing, we are in the contemplation stage. This is where we are aware that a problem exists, but we have no commitment to action. This is actually a very important step. Being aware of the problem is your first step to changing and healing. Maybe right now you're in contemplation for a trigger response, and that's essential. Celebrate that awareness. It's a huge first victory. Pause here and let's think for a second. What's one thing you're contemplating right now? Name it kindly to yourself. That leads to the next stage, preparation. This is when we have an intent on taking action to address the problem. We might start doing research on how to make the changes, We might talk to a close friend or a therapist about the problem we have found and why we want to change it. It is normal to bounce back and forth between contemplation and preparation. We know we have a problem and want to change it, but sometimes that change can feel scary. We can spend weeks or months bouncing back and forth between these before we move to the next stage. And that's okay. Being aware of your problem is the first step. And sometimes that next step is the hardest to take. Maybe you're gathering resources now, researching books on boundaries, chatting with a friend, or even listening to this. Yes, all of that counts as preparation. But once you do take that next step, we are into the stage of action. This is where we take an active step to modifying our behavior. This could take a lot of different forms depending on what behavior or trait you are trying to change. And this stage can take the longest to move out of. It's also normal to bounce back and forth from preparation to action. Being in the action stage is the hardest one, in my opinion, because it takes the most work. It can be the most difficult, and at times it can feel like it's not working. But as I mentioned earlier, these actions have a compounding effect, and eventually you've made a change. Saying no in a small way, daily breath work, journaling a trigger, those active steps build even when slips happen. Action is raw, but it shifts your default over time. Once you have made the change, you are in the maintenance stage, where your new behavior has replaced the old one. If healing was a linear path, this is where we would think we had reached the finish line. Hooray, everything is better now. But unfortunately, healing is not linear. New pauses before reacting become automatic. That feels good, right? But the spiral keeps things real. Even once we have made the change, we may fall back into our old pattern of behavior or way of thinking. This is revisiting old patterns. A lot of things can send us back there. Maybe an old trigger popped up that sent us back into our old way of thinking or acting. Maybe another stage of our healing uncovered deeper emotions around this way of thinking or this behavior that caused it to pop up again. That's okay. We just start going through the spiral of change again. And each time we go through that spiral, it's a little bit easier because we learn from each revisiting. Notice what gets a bit easier, even if it's just pausing before reacting. An argument, an anniversary, or stress can loop you back. That's normal. But each pass, pauses get faster and tools get sharper. And even if we never revisit that particular behavior or way of thinking that we did change, a different one will surface that we have to go through the same spiral of change in order to grow and heal. But again, the great part is that each time we climb this spiral, it gets a little easier and easier because we've been there and we've had success. Maybe perfectionism pops up next. The spiral works for that too. You've succeeded before. That builds real trust in yourself. Take a moment right now and see if you can come up with one or two changes you've made through this spiral of change. Pat yourself on the back for the hard work that you went through making those changes. You have already accomplished so much, and you are capable of so much more. Anchor that pride. Maybe kinder self-talk or better sleep habits. You've climbed so much already, one spiral at a time. Which brings us to the best part. Instead of chasing some imaginary perfect where we never struggle again, let's focus instead on building skills and supports that will help you handle whatever shows up. Think somatic breathing for when freezes hit, CBT reframes to quiet that inner critic, safe people or communities for co-regulation, and journaling to track your wins. You don't need to be fixed. You just need better tools for this journey. And reaching for therapy, coaching, or groups like ours, that's not weakness, that's wisdom. But here's the thing. Talking and insight alone, they are not enough. Trauma lives in the body too. That chest tension when you're triggered, the numbness in your arms during freeze, the hypervigilance that keeps you scanning every room, Your mind gets that aha moment, but your nervous system holds that story. That's why we pair somatic practices with CBT, body and mind working together as travel companions on this journey. So stick with me. I'm about to share specific tools you can use starting today to pack your trauma informed toolkit. Let me give you concrete tools to pack it right now. For the body, try 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. You can use this to drop out of fight or flight. It's okay if it feels awkward at first. Or we could try orienting. Slowly name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, and so on. This is used to signal safe to your system. Or you could use gentle neck rolls and shoulder shrugs to release stored tension. Pair that with CBT mind work by tracking your thoughts in a quick journal. Ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Reframe the critic. Tell yourself, I'm safe now, even if I feel shaky. Or use tiny exposure steps like staying with discomfort for 30 seconds longer each time. These are not fixes. They're your journey toolkit. Somatic for regulation, cognitive for rewiring. Use one today and feel that shift. Let's try it out right now. Let's do a 2-minute somatic and CBT practice together. Pause this if you're driving, but otherwise, get comfy and close your eyes if it feels safe. We'll call this your journey reset. First, let's start with somatic grounding. Place one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Feel the weight of your hands. Now, breathe with me. Inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now do that twice more on your own. Notice how your body is settling. Now let's try orienting. Name out loud or in your head 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Feel your system getting that all clear signal. Now let's add a CBT layer to that. Ask yourself, what story is my body telling me right now? Do you have a tight chest? Racing thoughts? Don't judge it, just notice it. Then reframe it gently. This is old survival talking. I am safe in this moment. I can handle this. Now, when you're ready, open your eyes. How do you feel? That's your toolkit in action. Body regulated, mind rewired, one tiny spiral step forward. You can bookmark this episode, and next time you have a trigger, you've got the tools at hand. Now, here's something huge. Healing isn't solo, it's relational. Safe people, groups, and co-regulation actually reshape those old attachment patterns and trauma responses over time. When your nervous system feels another person's calm, it learns safety faster than going at it alone. Think therapy or coaching for deep work, trusted friends for a daily check-in, community for shared wisdom and support. Professional help is a sign of strength, not failure. You don't have to do this alone. That's why we're launching our new Facebook group called Beyond Survival, Healing Together. It's a trauma-informed space for women just like you, sharing wins, tools, and real connection. No perfection required, just real talk. Head to the link in the show notes and join us. Your people are waiting. Healing happens faster when we hold space for each other. And if there's a topic you want to hear about or a story that you want to share, message me. I love learning from you guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember, healing isn't about being perfect or fixed. It's about showing up for yourself, building skills, and leaning into support when you need it. You're making progress even when it doesn't feel like it. Be gentle with yourself and trust the process. Thank you so much for joining me today on Beyond Survival, A Pathway to Peace. I'm so grateful to walk alongside you on this journey. Remember, healing isn't about perfection. It's about returning to yourself one small step at a time. Every time you show up for yourself like this, you're building something beautiful, a life beyond trauma. Healing is a journey, and every step, no matter how small, is meaningful. Be gentle with yourself along the way, and remember, you don't have to do it alone. If you're finding things especially hard right now, please don't hesitate to reach out for professional support. You don't have to do this alone. Help is out there and healing is possible. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with someone on their own path. Also, if you found value in today's episode, I invite you to connect with me on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Beyond Survival Pathway. There you'll find more insights, encouragement, and community support. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you'll be with us for the next part of the journey. And consider joining our Facebook book club, Beyond Survival, Healing Through Stories. It's a welcoming place to explore transformation through shared stories and connect with others on the path to healing. Until next time, keep putting one foot in front of the other. You're not walking alone, and the path to peace is unfolding with every step. Let's keep walking this journey together. Take care, and I'll meet you back here soon.